Hi guys, it's Andrea Latrell from Future Icons, and today we have a real treat for all you creative artists. We have Carolyn Butts. Hey Carolyn, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, and I'm so happy to be on Future Icons.
Oh, thank you for being here.
Thanks.
So I understand you are a publisher and founder of African Voices, which is a magazine. Can you tell us a little bit about when you started it and why?
Yeah, I started African Voices in 1992. At the time, I was a reporter for the New York Post. And I was inspired by the fact that there were all these creative voices out there, a lot of poets and visual artists, and there was no outlet for them to express themselves in terms of this generation. I was also inspired by the New Yorker magazine. As you know, that brings together, some fiction, politics, and art. So that was, really the inspiration for me starting African Voices. And we've published over 500 visual artists and poets over the last 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how did you find your pieces? Did artists submit to you? How does that work?
Yeah, it was just an overwhelming experience. I remember we took out one little short ad in the New York Times for writers, and we got over 100 submissions of resumes and actual short stories and poems coming in. So there was definitely a wealth of talented artists out there. And we brought them together. We would meet in a little conference room and put together the magazine. And, it just started sort of just
building from there.
Yeah, that there were people who tell their friends, and then all of a sudden they'll come to meetings. We used to have very open meetings. So it's been, a very successful publication in terms of us really launching the careers of some artists. We've had Juno Diaz has been through the magazine, Jessica Kiermore. There have been a lot of artists who have been featured in African Voices.
Now, how have you kept it up in the last 20 years? I mean, congratulations on your recent anniversary.
Yeah.
It's been challenging, I can imagine, with the advent of online and going to the internet and still having a paper publication. How do you continue on with your success?
Well, we're actually looking for ways of actually bringing the magazine online in such a way that people can experience the whole thing that we do with African Voices, because in addition to publishing a magazine, we have novel writing workshops, we have literary readings, poetry readings. We've also hosted art exhibitions. We did a lot more of that in the beginning of the first few years of the organization, and this year, in our 20th year, we had this fabulous art exhibition, which was a dedication to Garden Park's 100th anniversary. And it was like over 300 people came to see 30 artists whose work were inspired by Garden Park's legacy.
So do you have any other events coming up, and how will we find out about them?
Yeah, well, you can find out about some of our events online at www.africanvoices. And the most recent event that we're coming up is that we also produce a film festival called Real Sisters of the Diaspora.
I'm very excited about this. I'm an actress as well, and so
Oh.
I can't wait to hear about this event. Okay.
Yeah, the festival features usually about 20 women of color. They're films that are either directed, produced, or written by a woman of color. And it's everything. We have a little bit of romantic comedy in there. We have documentaries. We have shorts, and we have long form films in the festival. One of the films that you're going to see is called The Last First Kiss. And that's the romantic comedy, and it kind of deals with this woman who's on the eve of of her wedding, and she bumps into this guy in Central Park, and there's some type of little spark going on there. So you see, we have a little taste of that clip coming up.
Okay, that sounds exciting, actually.
Yeah,
A little tantalizing.
Before getting married.
I know. So when did this festival begin?
It began in 1997, and in Brooklyn. It's a Brooklyn-based film festival that's out of the Cumberland Theater, Long Island University in Brooklyn. And it's really a great place, like if you're an actress or if you are a director, just to network. We also have distributors there, so some of the filmmakers get a chance to get their films picked up. The audience really gets a chance to connect in a unique way with people. I mean, we have just a lot of films. I mean, one of the films that we're showing is called The Cut, and it's about female circumcision. It's a little heavy. Yeah, we have some heavy films. And we have, you know, just a lot of, one of the films that I actually love is the one on the postcard called Why Do We Have Black Dolls? It's a really nice film. And it actually is going to receive our Real Sisters of the Spirit Award. I mean, it really talks about, you know, the images of women in film and our stories and how dolls reflect that, and how that, you know, that's something that we need at a very young age.
Definitely.
Role models.
So, can you tell me, how did you go from African voices to film? Now, I know it's a creative process, and it could be a very easy segue, but what was your inspiration from starting this festival?
Well, the inspiration was, and I was in 1997, around that time, I did this short film called Underground Voices, and it featured about 5 poets out in Brooklyn. And, you know, I'm a woman filmmaker. I even ended up in Cannes. And then I realized how challenging it was that if you are a woman director, that in Hollywood, less than 1% of the directing jobs are given to women.
Right.
So
let alone if you're a woman of color.
Yeah, it's a double jeopardy type of thing.
Right.
So I decided, you know, the first year just to have an outlet where people could come and see the films that these women are telling our stories. They're talking about, like, there's a film called Little Brother that's dealing with African American men or boys between the ages of 8 and 9 years old. So, I mean, they're talking about our lives. And so I founded it in that spirit, that there would be a place, a voice for women of color in film.
Well, thank you as a woman of color and a future director as well.
Yeah, right.
But before we go any further, we definitely want to look at that clip. Again, can you tell us the name of the film that we will see at the film festival and that we're going to see today? Yes,
it's called The Last First Kiss. And it's just a beautiful film, you know, cinematography-wise, and just the story. It's an uplift.
People know what it's like to feel pain because they know what it is to feel pleasure. They know what it is to be sad because they know what it is to be happy. How can you possibly move into the next phase of your relationship if you don't know what love is like?
I think at the very least you owe me an apology of some sort, don't you? You did just plow into me.
I didn't plow, all right? There was no plowage of any kind whatsoever. I'll go first. My name is Jude.
No names.
No names?
When people introduce themselves, they're traditionally under the pretense that they are going to engage in a new friendship. That's not the case with us.
You married?
Like I'm gonna confide in you, a complete stranger.
I mean, you'd be surprised. Maybe confiding your most deepest, darkest secrets to a total stranger would make an ideal situation.
He was my first boyfriend, my first love, my first time, my first kiss even. I find myself wondering if he is in fact the one and only.
I mean, here you are giving me mixed messages, shamelessly flirting with me despite your engagement to another man?
I don't like you. I never said anything about liking you. You caused me an injury, and as a result, we are in this unusual, limboist relationship.
I'm giving you the opportunity to explore something different, so you can make sure you're making the right life choice.
In the morning, I'm waiting for you to come back home.
Well, thank you, Carolyn. I mean, you offer so much to the creative community in terms of the magazine and also this festival. Tell us again when the festival and where the festival is.
Yes, the festival is at Long Island University, the Cumble Theater. It's October the 13th and the 14th. And come all day and enjoy it. People can go to the website realsisters.org, and there's our complete film list.
Okay.
We also have some fabulous honorees. We're honoring Daphne and Tim Reed.
Oh, exciting!
Yeah. And we're honoring Michelle Montier, who's this fabulous film curator. She has an organization, Creatively Speaking, which features a lot of films year-round at Harlem Stage. And the other honoree is casting director Winsome Sinclair.
Oh, okay.
She did Precious. She did a lot of.
Yes, I'm very familiar with her.
Winsome.
Okay.
So people could come on Sunday and celebrate these really pioneering women and gentlemen.
Definitely.
And also celebrate the 20 films and filmmakers that we have in the festival.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to coming out to the festival and having our viewers come out. Thank you so much for coming and telling us all about African Voices and the Real Sisters Film Festival. I mean, you are providing so much to the creative community, and we thank you so much for that.
Thanks. And if there's any artists or writers out there, please come to our website, africanvoices.com. If you're a filmmaker, go to realsisters.org. We're accepting films now for 2013. It's an outlet for you, and I hope you will be our next voice in African Voices.
And we definitely will.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Carolyn.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it, Carolyn Butts, the next future icon in film and in publishing. I am Andrea Latrell, and this is Future Icons, so I will see you next week.
Being glamorous is a lifestyle. Be cute. Be bold. Be provocative. Silky, golden, glam.